Through the ups and downs, we stand tall in this journey of growth, day by day. Through the ups and downs,
I don't know her
we stand
personally,
tall
these
in
are group calls. And she basically said that she sort of stands up and starts and she is so knowledgeable in her area. And she feels funny sort of standing up in front of all, she's like, in front of all these suits. She said they don't, people don't get the way that she talks, people don't get her. So it's the other way around as well. So she's not corporate. She's not from a corporate background, but absolutely knows her stuff. But she just gets up in front and doesn't talk in their kind of language, or feels like she doesn't. I'm wondering if they are just like, wow, she knows so much and we don't, because that's not their area,
It's just two different worlds. So
It's
how
two
do you
completely different
bring
worlds.
the two different worlds together?
I suppose more listen. I did a lot of listening to people more than I would do, I suppose. You find people like talking about themselves, don't they? So you'd get people on calls, particularly sort of senior people that were having tough times at some of the places that I've worked with, and listen to them more than they probably get listened to by senior people, I think. So that kind of that sort of bringing those together, and also being able to, I think, curate meetings and get things to, like I say, the manipulation side of it or the influencing side of it. And I suppose just bringing the softer side back to corporate, really, after I'd sort of learnt stuff, because before it was very sort of, I was probably very much like, rip, rip, get the job done. Whereas I think I took a lot more notice of the human aspect of it.
Do you have more compassion then for people who are less able now?
Yeah, I think now definitely, because before I'd just be like, they're useless. Whereas I can probably, I think that some people aren't very good and do just get away with not doing a lot. But I suppose, is that my perception really, rather than anything? They just working to the best of their ability. And my expectations, they, because they've not been given the training or they don't know any better. And I've got to remember, I'm a lot older now. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, oh, but when it's, things have changed a lot since then, because you've got to think of these kids coming in now. I mean, Sean's, my daughter, she's how old is she now? 20. How old? She was the birthday yesterday. She's 23, and she works in corporate now. But she gets to work from home a lot, so I suppose she doesn't have to be in that environment. And I think being physically in the environment as well makes a difference. Like, you had to be amongst people that you didn't particularly like sometimes.
Well, it's like school, I guess. But
That's exactly what I was thinking before we came on this call, actually. The institutionalised, at school, so that you then go into the corporate environment, it's no different.
Yeah.
The hierarchy, and things like when you first started working, I mean, I don't know what it was like. No, because it was Bearings your, I just said it. Don't know if
it's all right.
Yeah, the first role that you went into from uni.
No.
Oh, was it not?
That, but locally.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but not for long.
So how was your first experience?
It was a stockbrokers, but it was like a call centre type environment. And it was really small, I don't know, 50 people or something, but all in one big office around kind of circular tables. And it was really nice. It was local. They were nice people. I had a good bunch of girls that I got friendly with and would go out with, and because it was local, it was it was nice to do that. But I saw the bright lights of London.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
I think I could have worked my way up there and had quite a nice little local career. Having said that, I then moved to the other side of the M25, so that wouldn't have worked. But I probably jumped ship too quickly, actually.
But then, if you'd have stayed there, would you have then still gone into the hypnotherapy side? Where did you get I'm asking two questions here, but where did you get the idea to go in to start training for the hypnotherapy? Because I don't think I did ask you that before.
No, I think you did, but it wasn't recorded, so let's not worry. I was interested. I'm trying to think of the backstory. I had a friend who went and had some hypnotherapy, Do you want the story from the
The
beginning?
original, yeah, the original, because I know that
There we
obviously
go.
the transition side of it, but yeah, the original. I know you
Yes.
said about learning, but
Well, there's a little bit of a backstory, I suppose. My dad started a psychology degree when he was a teen, at university age. He started a psychology degree. He didn't finish it, but there was a book in our bookshelf at home, Introduction to Psychology, I think it's called. I think I've got it, and I once opened it, and it opened on the page of hypnosis. And I must go back and read it, but it said something about staring at a spot on the wall, and I was like, no way. And I, slammed the book shut and shoved it back in the bookshelf. And of course, there was Paul McKenna on the TV when I was growing up, who interestingly, oh no, I mustn't share that, who I'm going to see being at some point in the future. I don't know if I think it's public information. I think he's going to be at the UK Hypnosis Conference next year.
Oh.
Anyway. I'm not sure that how I feel about. Anyway, so he was on TV, and I loved that program. Did you watch that program?
Yes.
Whatever it's called, Paul McKenna's Hypnotic World or something. Anyway, I loved watching it. So I was fascinated in hypnosis from very small, like very young, and then my friend went and had some hypnosis sessions, and I was intrigued and interested. And then I'm trying to think whether I had some. I think I might have had one or two sessions with somebody before I started training, and I was just interested. And then I was working, and I thought, why not? And so that's when I did the hypnosis diploma.
Yeah.
It was interest, purely out of interest.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be my lifelong career.
And are you glad that you made that transition now, though?
Yeah.
Could you see yourself doing anything else? Like if the stuff that could you have seen yourself staying in corporate if you hadn't have found hypnotherapy, or hypnotherapy found you?
No. Do you know? I think like you, I would not have been done well in corporate the way I was. I think I needed some serious growth. If I to have done well, I think other than the fact that I would have no respect for it now, I think if I were to go back in now with the attitude I have towards my own work, I'd do all right. But I don't think I just don't have any respect for that world. But I wish that I'd been given more guidance on what I find interesting as I was growing up.
Yeah.
Because I think I would wish that I'd gone down this path from day one, really. I mean, maybe I needed the negative experience I had to really fully appreciate it. I don't know, but I'd love to have perhaps gone down a more neuroscience route. I don't know. I like I like hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and I've probably always trained in that. But I think I would like to have something a bit more.
See, nothing at school. I don't think we didn't learn anything alternative or natural, should I say? But I think I was really interested in the business side of things. So I was always, but that was like literally one class every couple of weeks or something like that, and I was fascinated by all of that. I absolutely loved it. Everything else I didn't care about, and I just think that's probably why I sort of coasted through, because I was okay at everything else. And but I was really interested in the business side of things. But I remember reading lots of Nostradamus, going to the library and reading lots of Nostradamus books. I loved all of that. Loved it. But no, that's all smoke and mirrors. It's nonsense. And I'm like, is it? Why has somebody written a book on it then? That's a real book.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit of the mysterious.
Yeah, the mysterious stuff. And that's why, like the Graham Hancock, when I go, that's that kind of, the ancient apocalypse and the lost civilizations, and there's not no reason, but his stuff fascinates me. I went to listen to him speak. Was it last year or the year before? Can't think whether it was last year. I think it was last year, and he was talking in university in London, and I went to watch him, and it was amazing. Like, I think he was there for about 4 hours, and I was just like sitting there, absolutely mesmerised.
I think this is
that's
something that I've come to realise as well, that you can enjoy something without having to make it your career.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be travelling around Egypt and going into the Amazon rainforest trying to find ancient civilizations. But I absolutely love watching it.
That's like Merlin Sheldrake, Entangled Life.
Yeah, they're all pals, aren't they?
Yeah, and watching his film, I went to the
Mm.
IMAX and watched the Entangled Life film, and I thought, oh, why didn't someone tell me that this would be
Mm.
interesting? But
And
you
it was
don't.
all around when we were younger as well, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And I think as well, we didn't, because we didn't have the internet. You didn't have the connection to things like that you could go and explore the things that you like. Because I vividly remember, I'm from a background where all of the family was sort of lawyers, doctors, uh, police officers, teachers. Everyone was in that kind of profession. It was like that's the pathway. You must go to university. You must. And I thought I don't want to. I don't want to do any of that. I knew that I didn't want to. I just wanted to go and earn some money. I wanted to go to London. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just think, but I remember being in the library again. I spent a lot of time in the library for some reason. I suppose the library was our internet, wasn't it? You'd go and
Yeah,
look at,
of course it was, yeah.
you'd go around like, what subject do I want to look at today? So I'd just be like, oh, and there was a book. I remember this book, and it had a career path, and it was literally just like, well, as a lawyer, you can earn between however much. And I was like, right, I'm going to be a lawyer then. That's the like,
That's
just
exactly
like. And
what
then
I
I was
did
like,
with stockbroker, and then of course never ever achieved it. But that's exactly
yeah, a trader.
exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I remember standing there vividly in my university bedroom, having that book. That there was like
It was a book on career or something,
career
wasn't it? I'll have
book.
to, yeah. And
It
it
was.
just had you just went through this book, and you were like, right, I think, do I want to do that? And the one that was the most amount of money was a lawyer. So I was like, right, I'm going to do that then. But I didn't.
Why did I even have that at home? I had that book at home.
I don't know. It was definitely in the library. I remember reading, or maybe at school. But then with school, we had as well. It was like the green and black databasey type thing, and you'd put. It must have
Yeah.
had some sort of reasoning behind it, and I don't know what the language was back then that they used. But it was you'd put in. They'd ask you say 10 questions. They did in like Just 17 magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, does this boy fancy you? And this is literally how people built their careers back then. And it was like you put in all of these, answered like yes or no to these questions,
Yeah.
and then it said to you, and mine came up with army officer or prison officer. That's what came out from my personality.
I had great influencing skills at that age, and I was even able to influence the test so that it always came out as stockbroker. But why? Because it was purely money driven.
Mine would have been money driven, but I wouldn't have known about the influence in the computer back then. I think it was you've only allowed on it supervised as well. This was before Word or anything like that. This was like a really old. I didn't have Word or anything on Microsoft or anything when I was at school. There wasn't anything. I remember there was a couple of computers in the IT room. No idea. Could Google it. There were they were black and it was black and green database computers, and that was it.
Yeah.
It didn't come in. I think the year after I left, people had Word, because even my first ever job was you had a typewriter.
How old are you?
I know.
My nan used to say.
You had a typewriter. I remember working for shipping brokers, and you used to type out contracts with a typewriter.
Well, my parents were an abacus, so
Did they really?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Weren't calculators when they stopped, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now it's all on your phone. It's all on your phone.
You just do your job on your phone, right?
You can do anything on your phone. Can you imagine that? Having all of that information when you were younger now? Like, where would you have gone? Do you think you'd have still ended up here?
Well, alive or?
Well, I don't know. The way things are going on social media now, probably not. No. You'd have probably posted something that you'd never have got away with. You'd be in prison or...
I mean, I don't know what you mean.
Would you be a hypnotherapist and doing your hypnotherapy and all of the good things that you do you think?
No, I think maybe I would have gone more down. Well, I think I'd have loved to have studied psychology. I tell you what, my cousin, I need to speak to her. She studied biology at university. and doing the biology GCSE, and it's so interesting. And I do
well, I started doing the psychology stuff, didn't I? And then I never finished it. So
yeah. Also, she's doing that, and I think she's interested in it. It's not just me living my dreams through her. But
is it?
It is. It's really interesting, and I think that I could have done. I don't even know whether I could have done biology as a single subject at my school. I think I could. I think only those who are superior at science, but then you probably had to do all three individuals.
And is there still a point system now? Because I didn't even, nobody explained that to me until afterwards.
I don't understand any of that.
No.
I'm old enough to have had A's, B's, C's and D's. Is that what you mean?
No, so I didn't understand when I was at school, because nobody explained this to me, that if you didn't get very good GCSEs, then this all counts to points towards your, to what you can study. There was a point system.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So if you didn't do very well in college, you didn't get enough points to get in to do the degree that perhaps you wanted to, whereas now you can just pay to do whatever you want, really. But yeah, it's you had to get a certain amount of points years ago. Nobody explained that. There's a lot of unexplained things.
UCAS points.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think I would have liked to have gone down that. I would have liked to have done. I would have loved neuroscience, I reckon. I don't know if I've got the capacity to understand it or learn it all properly.
What's stopping you from doing it now?
Time.
Yeah.
I'd love to, actually.
Can you not read some books on the side, though?
Well, I do. That's the thing. I read all the books on the side. You don't need the qualification, do you?
That's what I mean. Yeah. So
you do to work. If I did something like that, I could work with some real interesting clients. I do work with really interesting clients.
Yeah.
But it could be even more. I could do what I'm doing now and do other stuff.
Yeah. So do you think that's something you'd explore when you do have more time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's it's never too late, is it? It's never too late.
Well, no, and yeah, it's never too late. No, I'd like to have something a bit more specific. I would like to do a bit of research.
Yeah, because your blogs are amazing.
You're very generalised, though. I'd like to do something. I'd like to find something specific that I could
like a niche
investigate. No, it's not that I want a niche, but I'd like to find an answer to a question. I've got to find the question before I find the answer.
Oh,
do you ever watch Brené Brown?
Yes.
And have you read Daring Greatly?
No, I haven't actually.
I think it's Daring Greatly. It's the only one of her books I've read, but I've also seen her TED Talk. But it's pretty much all based on her research, and I don't know how much people appreciate that she just there's no just about it, but she went and did a PhD, and it's all shame-based. I can't remember what the question is, but her books are written on the basis of her research. But her question that she was exploring, in her thesis was so interesting. And I know some people do a PhD to get a PhD, and they'll go out there and they'll find someone who's kind of offering a subject, and of course I'm sure it will interest them to some extent, but probably not necessarily be the thing that they're totally passionate about, but they want the PhD rather than wanting to ask the question. I'd quite like to just find something I'm really interested in and study something that no one else has studied before.
Yeah. Quantum physics.
Not that.
No.
Dr. David Hamilton, he talks about that, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think that wasn't something that was like that would have captured my attention at school. I think that would have done, but not the. Like I remember, I was talking to somebody about this. I don't know if I was speaking to you about, and it was the way of learning as well. Like I learn by doing rather than repetition, or like if somebody's like teaching you and it's just like like looking at just reading stuff. There's got to be lots of different interactions for me to learn things. I'm not somebody that you can just talk at and I'll learn something. And I think that's probably why there's certain subjects I didn't really understand as well as I probably could have done.
Yeah, I don't know how I learn. I think I learn.
Because you're very good at learning. I remember watching you when you were doing your IMC, and it was your IMC, wasn't it? Yeah, and you'd highlight, you'd go for it, and I was like, oh, that's how you study. Because nobody ever taught me how to revise or how to study, and I was like, oh, okay. You highlight things and then you read them back. Like I remember asking you how you were doing it, and you told me.
Yeah, maybe it's changed. I learn a lot now through research. Like writing my blogs is brilliant for me because I think getting the information. So whether I'm going to like on Google Scholar and going to what do you call it? Someone's published paper and looking at the actual science and research behind it, or whether it's just someone else's writing, but taking the information and then understanding it enough to be able to put it in my own words.
Yeah.
And then I can take that into client sessions as well. But that's, I guess, the same as what you do when you read a study textbook.
Yeah. But you're redoing it yourself in your own words, so therefore you're learning it, aren't you? Whereas exactly. I think that makes a lot of difference. I think if I'd have been taught how to learn better, and I still don't think they do that now in the schools, is teaching you how to because like you're saying, from corporate point of view, and it's like you have to fit into the mold. There's no exceptions. I think that nowadays they're more doing something, in the neurodivergent, but there's still okay, you're neurodivergent, but come on, you've still got to do this. So we're just going to find a way to funnel you into doing this, rather than maybe this isn't the thing that you should be doing. Maybe you should be outside building things,
Totally.
But the school system is institutionalized to okay, you're neurodivergent. Okay, so we're going to make you do it another way.
Yeah.
Rather than accepting the fact that you're that way, and that maybe learning academic things isn't for you.
It's a conversation for a whole other day, but that's what my view is, that this is probably quite controversial, but I just think we're people with lots of different characteristics. And when I was at school, it was drummed into us really in my class, because we were streamed in terms of academic intelligence. Basically, we were given a test when we first started the school, and depending on what we got on the test was how we were set in these classes.
Yeah, whether you're in the top, middle, or bottom.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
I was always in top, so I didn't mind. So
likewise, but you know what? It's not great when you're in the top, because you're told that you are able to go and do these things. Therefore you should go and do these.
And I completely lost it in maths. I was really good at maths until they put me in top set. When you got sorted out into that, because ours was later on, and then I was just like, oh, this is all. They completely lost me there. Well, I had an awful teacher, and that was that.
Yeah. So, but I don't think that was right. That because of all of that, you lot are all going to go and work in London in banks and whatever. That's what was instilled in us, but I don't think it's right. I think you're right. So maybe these labels that everyone's getting, which I've got a couple in our house, so it's not that I disagree with them, but I did disagree with them for a long time. Maybe they're a good thing, because maybe they're going to help people see, well, maybe your characteristics are better suited in this environment, where you can be more practical and you can use your hands and you can be moving about all day. Actually, that kind of institutionalized corporate world is not very good for us in any way, in terms of you've sat still the whole day, you sat in front of a screen the whole day. Sometimes I remember days when I didn't even see the daylight, because I'd get into the office before the sun came up and I'd leave after it went down.
Yeah, you're on the train and walk into the station in the dark, and then you're coming home in the dark.
Yeah.
And then nowadays as well, particularly the last place I worked at in corporate, everything is on site. The offices are amazing. if whatever you'd consider amazing to be, like they're very glitzy, and and they have everything on site. They've got doctors on site, they've got gym on site, they've got cafeteria that serves amazing food, slightly substituted, better than you probably find out on the street, all in the building. And then they've got breakout areas where you'd go and you relax as such, and there's everything to keep you in the building.
And I remember when we were at Canary Wharf, you didn't even need to get.
You didn't need to go outside, did you? It's like being a mole.
Brilliant, but I love it.
Yeah. Oh God, in the winter it was amazing because you didn't have to go into the freezing cold.
Yeah. Isn't Singapore like that?
I don't know, because it's really hot. I don't remember there being.
Point. I've heard that you don't like, you can almost get from your apartment block to your office without going outside.
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I was there as a tourist more than anything. Canada, I think, because I know my brother, when he was in Canada, because it's so cold there, you go down in the winter, obviously, into your car where it's warm, and then you drive into the underground car park because of how cold it gets outside.
Yeah, and I've heard in Canada that you can switch your car on from inside the house so that it warms up.
Yes, you can do also. The Teslas have got it on them.
Yeah.
Teslas, you've got it all on an app now. It's amazing.
So it's quite nice. It's quite easy. It's comfortable, but it's not very healthy. It doesn't leave. This is no. I could get very technical here.
Why not? Why don't you?
Well, because we haven't got long. But I was talking recently about the pain of presence versus the pain of absence.
And what do you mean by that?
So the pain of presence is the pain we feel when we're doing something that's going to give us a purposeful and meaningful life. The pain of absence is the pain we feel when we try and avoid pain.
Yeah.
So the pain of presence is what we feel when we have to step out, or we choose to step outside the office because we want to get daylight because it's really good for us. And in the long run, it's going to make us feel better, and it's also going to give us purpose. Maybe a better example is you getting up at 5 a.m, whenever it is, and walking Frank, because
Frank's my dog. Frank, just in case anyone's not just some random stranger that I get up and walk at 5 o'clock in the morning.
You do it because of your values, because you want to look after him properly and all of those things. But you probably don't love it. There's some kind of discomfort.
That's true. That's a really good example, actually. Yeah. I'd much rather be. This morning was very cold, and he doesn't obviously mind because he's got a fur coat on. But I'm already in layers as it is, and I had another layer on, and I get what you mean now. Yeah.
And then the pain of absence is the opposite. The pain of absence is the pain you'd feel if you didn't walk him, and you felt rubbish about yourself every time. He kills you, but you feel rubbish about yourself every time you look at him.
Oh God, I do anyway, even if I do take him out. So there's no absence of pain ever.
You've got mum guilt. You've basically.
I've transferred. Yeah. No, I know that's exactly what I've done. I've gone from being needed by my daughter to now being needed by.
Why are you holding on to that need to be needed?
I know this is more things I need to work on.
On that note, let's stop. I've got a client.
Go and clear your aura.
I need to say.
Need to cleanse.
My room.
Of this dirty talk about corporate.
Before welcoming my client into this space, this online space.
Should I hit? Let's stop recording. There we go. It's. Put a thumbs up.
Grow together, we'll grow.